Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Good Guy Sports. Today, we are going to be previewing the 2026 MLB season. That's right. Opening day is upon us. Baseball is back. And boy, do we have an exciting season up and coming for you here. We are looking at some really exciting teams, obviously, big storylines, big teams, big free agents, all of that we come to expect from Major League Baseball. And we're going to break it down here, division by division. We're going to give you predictions, analysis, and what to expect from this upcoming season. So, myself, Blake Gerke, Mike Roby, Jackson Gerke are going to give you the MLB breakdown that the fans out there are looking for. All right, so let's start quickly, though, Mike. I want to,
hmm
before we get to the MLB, quick little recap of a different tournament, not MLB, different three-letter abbreviation, the WBC. Obviously, World Baseball Classic just wrapped up with Venezuela shock winners, maybe you would say,
Yeah,
taking the crown over the U.S. What were your thoughts on the tournament overall, Mike?
it was it was exciting. I enjoyed it. I mean, it was good baseball. I mean, the Venezuela team. Um, Mikel Garcia is in Atlanta tonight. He playing for the Royals. He was the MVP of the WBC.
Right? Yeah, yeah. Have to say, a good, happy to see that Venezuela team. Obviously, you like to see, obviously, we're American, root for the U.S., but it meant a lot for Venezuela winning that game, and obviously, seeing Ronald Acuna win that crown as a
Yeah,
Braves fan was exciting from my perspective as
yeah.
well.
Well, how about Italy going into the semifinals?
The Italians, that's a great story, wasn't it?
You know, and we'll get when it comes to prediction time, we'll get back into the WBC. I have a prediction that's related.
Okay, okay. Is your prediction that we should allow Italy into the MLB to compete for a season, so we just have a full
No,
Italian team?
no, not at all. Not at all. But I think a lot of a lot of respects, um, it's the wrong time of year, really. But I'm not sure what the right time of year is for the WBC because you got a lot of players that particularly on the American squad that weren't hitting all that well because they're still in the spring training mode,
Yeah.
trying to get in season shape.
Right. Right. Yeah. So interesting timing for sure. You saw some of that with the apprehension of teams to allow their pitchers to pitch more than one
hmm
game, kind of
Yeah,
figuring out the rest balance, and there was a bit
yeah,
of a strategy as well.
yeah. Limiting some of the starters to 65.
Right.
Yeah, but
So I think despite some of the limitations, I
mhm.
thought it was a really exciting tournament. Jackson, what did you make of the WBC quickly before we get to our MLB predictions here, man?
Oh, I thought it was great and perfect. I think the WBC put on a great show, and the one thing that stood out to me is Great Britain. They almost beat the United States of America,
Listen, man,
and that
almost
was
as only in horseshoes and hand grenades as far as I'm
right.
concerned.
And so Great Britain, they fought hard, they came close, but I think at the end the United States were the better team, and that's just how it all
You think
unfolded in
this
that
is the
one.
turning point for British baseball? This is something to build off of.
I think so. I think Team Great Britain will have a brighter future. In the
No
sport
more
of
cricket.
baseball. And yes, I think baseball will be
It'll become the second sport in
yes,
England,
yes, I think baseball will
maybe third
be
behind rugby,
yes,
maybe.
I do.
But
Yes, I agree, Mike. I think baseball will surpass the sport of cricket in the country of Great Britain.
wow,
And
that's a big prediction.
and and I think that
Maybe the prediction of the year.
unlike football, which is mainly their sport over
Sure.
there in England, I think baseball will be even more popular than it is for when the NFL does games in London. So I think it will be very popular than 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 how things usually are stands.
Okay, there you heard it here first. The not what I was expecting, but the prediction for WBC was that baseball will overtake cricket to be the third most popular sport in the UK. So there you have it. You never know what kind of predictions you're going to get here on Good Guys Sports. Let's jump now to the MLB predictions. We're going to go division by division, giving our thoughts, predictions on some of the teams. And I want to start in the American League, and I want to start in the American League East. Obviously, a big division due to the fact that it contains the Yankees, Red Sox teams that we know that we have a lot of interest, media coverage every year. Obviously, interesting season, I think, in this division. Obviously, the Yankees always have high expectations. They started the season well in the opening game on Netflix in San Francisco against the Giants. So they're starting strong. I think the Red Sox themselves have high expectations. Obviously, we saw Roman Anthony in the WBC taking center stage there. The Boston fans are certainly putting a lot of hope on his shoulders to kind of carry that team. They've had a couple of up and down years, but the expectations are a little bit higher in Boston. And then obviously Toronto, we have to mention the reigning American League champions, lest we forget. They did a number on the Yankees last year in the ALCS, didn't they? So they're going to be back. Maybe not the same level of expectations. Maybe, I mean, obviously, you win the American League, the expectations for the next are going to be high as well. So, and then Baltimore as well, they're coming off a disappointing season where they had high expectations for themselves as well from the previous year. And then, of course, Tampa, always a frisky team. So, Mike, this is always a tough division to call, isn't it? But you got teams like the Yankees, obviously high expectations, Boston, Toronto, Baltimore. So this is going to be a competitive division again, as always, I think, right?
Oh yeah. You got four teams that could very easily make the playoffs. The Yankees, the Blue Jays, Red Sox, and Orioles. Any of those teams could, in fact, win the division. But my prediction is going to be the New York Yankees win the AL East. And the reason I say that is their lineup is ranked the second best in baseball, and their pitching staff is ranked the seventh best in baseball. And when I compare that to the Blue Jays, who I will say will come in second,
Okay.
their lineup is ranked fourth, and their pitching staff is ranked ninth. And of course, the Red Sox could in fact surprise everyone, but they got a good pitching staff with Garrett Crockett, um, and some good bats. Uh, Anth Roman Anthony is probably going to have a tremendous year,
Yeah.
but that's my prediction.
And what about Baltimore then? People were a little bit disappointed by their season last year. Do
Yeah,
they have a chance to win the American League East, or are they just caught in that situation where they're coming up against teams that spend more than them?
yeah. Well, having Pete Alonso, now
It's a good
wearing
acquisition. What'd you think of that acquisition, by the way, Mike? I didn't get
I
your opinion
thought it
on
was
that.
a great acquisition for the Orioles. And Gunnar Henderson is probably going to have a tremendous year. Um, my their lineup is, I believe, ranked seventh. So the only question mark, and I just too early to tell, is their pitching staff,
Right.
if they're going to have the arms to sustain that. But they're going to have a lot of fun up there in Camden Yards this year.
Certainly, certainly. Jackson, how do you see this division playing out? The American League East, obviously, we got some big teams, some big names in there. What are your thoughts on this division for this season?
My thoughts is that I have the Toronto Blue Jays finishing first,
Okay.
although all but when healthy, I'm actually going to go the opposite of Uncle Mike. I'm going to go with the New York Yankees on top. Aaron Judge, the most talked about baseball star of all time, if not in all of pro sports. Think about it this way. Now I know it's a different conversation for another day and another time, but you got to hear me out on this. So I read an article on Sports Illustrated about Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani that, in my opinion, for the first time in decades, that they are on pace of becoming the new era of Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. I'm throwing out a basketball theory for
Whoa.
you up there. I say yes. Ever since Larry Bird wanted ever since yeah, so ever since Larry Bird and Magic Johnson won their championships in the professional level and in college at Michigan State and Indiana State for both Celtics and the Lakers and for Indiana State and for Michigan State. That, in my opinion, that in today's era in all of sports modern era in today's history of in all of sports that they could be that 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 they could be today's athletes in the modern era.
Yeah,
So I think to me that they are just that,
it's a
and I
fun. It's
think
it's a fun
Otani and
comparison.
Judge, yes, are in that same category. So I do think I'll put that aside from there.
Okay.
Aside from that, though, I have the Yankees at first. The Orioles will finish in second. Not far from them, nobody should be sleeping on the Tampa Bay Rays, although I did hear some reports that they are returning back to the Trop out in St. Petersburg after what was a great visit for the for their home games in the stadium that we used to work at. Shout out to Miss Jessica and the Yankees that for what was their home last season. Now they get to go back to their own ballpark in their own stadium down in St. Petersburg. That would be very very fun and interesting. Although it is a very controversial and some question marks about the future of their franchise and for the team down in the state of Florida, down in the Tampa Bay region in that area in the Tampa Bay region.
Yep.
But but um but after that, I have the Red Sox finishing in fourth place, and then I have the Red Sox in fourth place, and then that's where I have and that's where Jackson's ALS predictions in the AL
So
East
you have
stands.
Toronto number one. Is that
Toronto, I'm sorry, I have Toronto. I have Tampa Bay at three, Toronto number four, and then I have the Red Sox in last place.
wow? Okay, interesting, interesting. Yeah, no, I mean this is an interesting division for sure. Like I think there's a lot of permutations that could happen. It's one of the most interesting divisions I think in baseball. I personally think I'll bet on the Yankees to finish first, just because of the power they have. Obviously, they have Cole coming back in that rotation as well. Max Fried, obviously in that rotation, pitched a good game as well. In the first game of the season, didn't he? So I've got Yankees, and I think Toronto will nick a wild card spot there as well. I think Baltimore, Tampa Bay might be on the outside looking in that one. But let's move to our next division, which is the American League Central. Interesting division here, I think. Um, Kind of one that we've seen certain teams make a rise. Obviously, we saw Detroit last year put together a pretty impressive season. Cleveland always is always thereabouts. Kansas City will be looking obviously they're opening up in Atlanta this weekend in an interesting weekend series, but I think led by Scooble, Detroit is a pretty clear winner for this division. Mike, is that how you're seeing it?
Well, yeah, I mean, you got three teams, Tigers, Guardians, and the Royals that I think could end up winning this division. And you have Jacob deGrom returning to Detroit. No, I'm sorry, Verlander. Verlander's returned to
Right.
Detroit. Uh, and but I have a surprise pick
Okay.
to win this division, Kansas City Royals.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I
And
mean,
I base that primarily on the WBC play by the Royals
okay.
and Pasquatina, who they call Pasquatch, and you got to love a team that has a guy named Pasquatch on it.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
he and uh, one of his teammates on the Italy side. You had Perez and Garcia on the Venezuelan side. And oh yeah, don't forget about Bobby Witt Jr.,
Mm,
Mm.
the shortstop for the American side. One of the intangible things. At Kansas City, their stadium, they've actually moved the fences in a little bit
Is that
this
right?
year. Uh-huh.
Hmm.
So I see a lot of Royals home runs at their home ballpark this year.
Okay.
And I think they'll surprise them. I think they'll surprise everybody.
I like that
Um,
pick.
and then I think the Tigers will end up second and the Guardians will end up third. Now keep a eye out. The Guardians, their rookie Chase DeLauter, his debut yesterday, he went 3 for 5 with 2 home runs. So just keep an eye out on that one.
Okay.
Uh, as well as the Tigers' new shortstop rookie uh, McGonigal, 4 hits in his debut against the Padres.
It's impressive.
So that's going to be a fun division to watch.
For sure.
But I'll stick with the Royals.
Yeah, it could be more competitive than we think. Jackson, American League Central, any thoughts there?
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree with Uncle Mike on this one. I have the Tigers winning the AL Central, and
Okay.
I actually have the Kansas City Royals finishing in second. I
Okay.
have the Twins in third, Guardians in fourth, and I have
Oh,
the
wow.
White Sox finishing in fifth place.
I guess that's surprising. Cleveland in fourth, actually, but it could be
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah. I agree, Blake. I agree, and I think Tyler Skubal and Verdez and
he's an ace.
Verlander, if they and Verdez and Mize, and if their rotation stays healthy, and then I think the Tigers are most likely going to run away in that division and have a shot in the postseason. That's how I see it in this 162 game season, which we know is a long season. But I think the Tigers will win the AL East when healthy, and that's just how I see it.
No, for sure. Yeah, I think I agree with you, Jackson. I've got the Tigers winning the American League Central. I have Kansas City in second. I think Mike is on something there with KC having a bounce back year, an up and coming. I think it's an up and coming team for sure. So I think they might even sneak a American League wild card. Cleveland probably just behind them there. So an interesting division for sure. Let's jump now to the American League West. Interesting division here for sure. Obviously, I think you have some teams, Angels, Athletics, maybe not at that stage where they're ready to be competitive right away. Obviously, we saw a great run from a Seattle Mariners team. Houston is always there, thereabouts. Texas as well. It's ended up being a really competitive division last year, didn't it? In terms of coming down to the end of the season to see who would ultimately take that AL West crown. Obviously, it was Seattle who eventually took the American League West last year. Um, do you think they're going to be the favorites again, Mike, for this division, or do you see it differently?
No, Mariners. Yeah, they
Too,
are.
too much
Their lineup
firepower.
is the third best ranked,
Mm,
and their pitching staff is the second best ranked.
that's strong.
And yeah, so I Mariners number one. I've got the Rangers finishing in second, Astros in third, Athletics in fourth, and then the Angels.
Okay.
But I would not be surprised if the Athletics creep up and
Mm,
finish higher than fourth.
it could be a frisky team this year, yeah?
Yeah, they got a lot of good players.
Yeah.
They just don't have a home yet until
Right. They're still playing in
uh,
Sacramento, right? So
yeah, they're still playing in Sacramento.
Sacramento A's, yeah, not quite the same ring to it, does it? Yeah.
No.
All right. Jackson and Seattle for you here, man.
Yeah, see, yes, I agree with Mike. I do have Seattle finishing in first place, but I'm gonna, but I'm gonna do things differently in this division. I'm gonna switch things up a bit. I'm gonna go Astros second, Rangers third, Athletics fourth, and Angels fifth.
Okay.
Now you got to hear me out.
Sure.
The Seattle Mariners were so close to getting to the World Series,
Yeah.
and it
Game
ended
seven.
it ended in Yeah, it ended in heartbreaking fashion. Those fans almost tasted it, and yet they were in the doorstep, and they were so close to making it to the Fall Classic. Yet they yet they end up falling short on the wrong side of history. It reminds me a bit of so let me put it this way. They remind me a bit of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Detroit Tigers of made I'm sorry, they remind me a bit of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Detroit Lions of Major League Baseball. That's what this franchise reminds me of. Just to give you an idea on different pro sports perspectives of it. That just shows you
Yeah,
one of the most active franchises that are this close and yet have never appeared to any World Series in franchise history.
yeah,
Maybe this year
could be their
it'll be
year.
their chance, could be their year and chance, but I have yet to. But if they don't get there, then I have lots of questions to be answered, and they could join the Jaguars and the Lions of the NFL to not appear in any World Series ever.
Yeah,
But aside from that, the Mariners will definitely have a great year if, of course, Carl Raleigh, known as the Big Dumper, who put on a show last year's home run derby and made some great postseason matches. But aside from that, and I think that Rodriguez and Brian Wu and Miller and George Kisby and Andrew Montos and those guys and their rotation and their bullpen, their second base really could be the difference in this
yeah,
game.
yeah.
But I think the Mariners
Okay.
will definitely be a runaway if they were to win that division, which I think they can,
Okay.
and I agree with Uncle Mike on this one.
Okay, so you got Seattle there. I am the same. I've got Seattle winning the American League East. They're going to be strong, hungry to eventually get that American League crown that they craved last year, just missing out. So yeah, I've got Seattle. I don't honestly don't not 100% confident in any of the other teams in that division making the playoffs as a wild card. So all I'm confident is that I think Seattle will win that division. So let's move on to the National League, fellas. And let's start with a division obviously close to, as you can tell by our jerseys, me and Mike's heart, the National League East. Um, Similar to the American League East, I think always a division that has a lot of interest on it. Obviously, you got big franchises, Phillies, Mets, Braves, Nationals as well. Mike, I'll give you that. Coming into the season with big expectations. I mean, if you look at the Phillies and Mets payroll, they obviously have big expectations given what they're paying for their players. Phillies brought Schwarber back. Obviously, the Mets spent big on the likes of Soto. The Braves, they made a couple of acquisitions. Some of them are suspended or injured. I honestly, as a Braves fan, I'm not too sure what to expect from this season, but obviously, Mike, you're happy with the opening day performance in Chicago from your Nationals. But how do you see this division playing out?
Yeah, this the black and blue division for sure. Um, I've got the Philadelphia Phillies finishing first. I think they're just going to be hard to beat. They've got a great pitching staff. Sounds like Zach Wheeler will be back soon. Their lineup is fairly stellar. Schwaber bombs already started in the first inning yesterday,
Yep.
and they they've got a new center fielder, Justin Crawford, who keep an eye out on him. He may be a dark horse for the Royal Award at the end of the year.
Okay.
So I mean I've got the Mets finishing second. You know, they could in fact either one of those teams could finish first and second, but I've got the Mets finishing second. Um, Got to remember, Bo Bichette is now a Met. He came over from the Blue Jays.
Hmm.
Um, so the Mets, their whole outfield is changed a little bit. Soto is now in left field instead of right field, but they've got Polanco playing first base, who was a Mariner last year, and They've got a new, interesting, a rookie pitcher, Nolan McLean for the Mets. Keep an eye on him. He may be the next big ace on their ballpark. I've got the Braves finishing third, Marlins finishing fourth, and my Nationals
Oh
finishing
no.
fifth.
I think he's just trying to hedge his expectations there, Jackson.
I'm trying to hedge my expectations because I can only go up from here.
Fair enough. If you predict the team to finish last, Jackson, then you can only uh happy with
I hope
overperformance
I'm
there,
wrong.
right? Well, Jackson, what do you think about this division, man?
I agree. I think the Phillies will finish first, the Mets second, Braves first,
Boo!
and you got to hear me out. Now, I could have
No,
changed my mind on this, but you got to hear me out on this. The Braves have dealt with so many injuries last year,
that's true. Yeah,
in large part because Ronald Acuna Jr. and Austin Riley and Alex Acapolis and those guys didn't stay healthy enough during most of the season, and that was in large part because they didn't put any weight on them on their bodies, and and for this Braves rotation and their outfield and different positions on the field, that's really the biggest difference for me from last season. But if they all stay healthy for the entirety of the season, then they could be a very dangerous team out in that division. That's just how I see it. But
okay.
besides from that, I think the Mets will finish second, Phillies first, and the Marlins will be fourth. And yes, I would have to agree with Uncle Mike's hometown team going to be finishing in last place, the Nationals, of course. Yeah, we all know how that goes in the last few years. But the only star player that people only care about for this Washington team is is James Wood, who is their only star player on this roster for this rotation, and that's really the only player that I can think of that's on this team, other than you hired new manager Blake Butterua, who happens to be a young Paul Benetti at 36 of a young cool energy that the Nationals are going to be going for yet another rebuilding, retooling kind of team. So I think if you're a Nationals fan, then 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 my word of advice would be is some more patience. So for that fan base, it's going to be a long summer, under 62 games for them. But I think for anyone in the Nationals organization, it's just going to be a long haul rebuilding year, and it's going to take quite some time and a few years to even get back to top to make a to get you back for another run for to break through to get yourself and at least try to get in the wild card spot for another postseason run.
For sure. Yeah. I think those are good predictions there. Myself, I'm an optimistic fan. I don't have the Braves finishing first, but I do have them finishing second. Controversial, perhaps. I have the Phillies finishing first. I think with their payroll, the expectations, the money they have committed, I think they're going to finish first. Braves finishing second. I can never predict the Mets to finish above the Braves in a division, so I have to have them third. I think they always flatter to deceive the Mets. So that's what I'm predicting as well. I've got Washington in fourth, so not in last place. I have the Fish finishing fifth in that division. The Marlins, they're always the Marlins, aren't they? So I can't say too much else apart from that. But I think I have to be glass half full, Mike, and predict the
Hmm.
Braves to sneak a wild card. Am I crazy?
Um,
Yes, is the answer.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Wishful thinking.
I have to hold on to something as a fan, don't I, Mike?
Oh yeah,
That's
absolutely. You wouldn't be a fan if you didn't hold on. That's
fair
the
enough.
one great thing about opening day. Everybody's in first place.
Exactly, exactly. The Washington Nationals are 1-0 and 100% win record, and that's all we need to care about right now, don't we?
That's all we care about.
All right, let's move on to the National League Central now. An interesting division, I think, as well. Obviously, last year we saw a strong Milwaukee team not look as strong in the postseason as they did against the Dodgers in the regular season. They were pretty strong winners of that division. Obviously, just Chicago just behind them. I think Chicago I just re-signed Armstrong to a deal there as well, kind of hanging on to that young talent. Milwaukee will still be there thereabouts. I think Chicago's an interesting team in this division. Obviously, the Cubs are always have a lot of interest on them. Mike, what do you
Yeah.
think of the Central this year?
Well, Central always plays interesting. The Brewers remind me of Duke basketball. They
Mm.
keep changing players, but they keep rolling and making the playoffs.
Right.
And it's remarkable. But that said, this is my going out on a limb, my worst to first pick.
Whoa.
I have the Pittsburgh Pirates
What?
winning the National League Central.
No way.
Uh, they've got they've got the pitching arms.
They have
Of course,
schemes.
Skeens didn't do too well yesterday, but
Is your prediction after that?
well, my prediction was before that, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
going to stick with it. The baseball season's a marathon, but I think Marcell Ozuna, who is now a Pirate, is going to have a comeback year, and he's going to really help Brian Reynolds come up with some good bats up there in Pittsburgh, and I've got the Pittsburgh Pirates finishing first, Cubs second, Brewers third, Reds fourth, and the Cardinals finishing in fifth place.
Wow. Wow. Interesting. Interesting. Jackson, I'll be honest, I expected some hot takes from Mike, but I was not expecting a Pittsburgh Pirates National League Central champions take from him, man. I mean, I'm blown away. I don't know about you.
Well, first of all, Uncle Mike, have you not been paying attention? The Pittsburgh Pirates jumped off to a 3-0 early lead in in their opening game yesterday afternoon, and then and then all of a sudden and then all of a sudden they blew the Mets tied the lead, and they blew the lead in large part
Yeah,
because one of their center field players couldn't see the ball because he didn't know because because the sun was in the way and it was very sunny,
yeah,
and my strategy for that player is that he should be wearing sunglasses, not with his eye protection. That's one of the reasons why they blown that lead and they lost it in large part because of that, and that's
yeah.
really why
Well,
they lost the game yesterday.
yeah, Cruz is not known for his defense, but I think it showed too the strength of the Pirates lineup, but it also showed the power of the Mets. The
Hmm.
Mets are going to be they're going to give the Phillies a hard time, but that's kind of what I took on it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, back to yeah. So anyway, so back to my point here. As I was saying, I'm gonna disagree with Uncle Mike on this. I think the Chicago Cubs are going to be taking the NL Central, and I have them finishing in first place. I think the Pirates are going to finish in second place. The
Okay,
Brewers
so
will
you're
finish
pretty
in
high on the
third.
Pirates then as well, though. So
I
you're not
am,
disagreeing that much.
but I haven't finishing him in second,
Okay,
followed by the
that's
Brewers in third.
still better than fifth. I
Right.
mean,
Reds in fourth, and the Cardinals in fifth place.
okay, yeah, you guys are pretty low on the Cardinals. Interesting. Okay, yeah.
Not a lot of love for the Cardinals, and the Cardinals just really, although they had some history in the postseason in in the past for all these years ago, but
Hey,
this Cardinals
listen,
team, but
Albert
this Card,
Pujols is
yeah,
not walking through that door.
no, he's not. He's not walking through that door. Nor is their manager and for their
Tony
farm
La
system,
Russa.
Tony Russo and those guys. Yeah, it's all in the past, and those Cardinals teams and the fan base had really lost some interest. And I think it's just a
Hmm.
thing in the past, and I think the Cardinals fan base, for people out in St. Louis, is
What about
is
the
just not
Reds?
as not as a, not as a what as it used to be. The
Aren't the
Reds,
Reds?
the
Wow, no,
Reds,
hang on, hang
well,
on. I want to get Mike's take on the Reds. The
Mhm.
Reds, they have some interesting players, no? Like De La
They do.
Cruz.
They may be sneaky.
I think I'm kind of like sneaky into the Reds this year personally,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I mean, I would not be surprised to see the Reds come in as, second or third.
no, I'm surprised that you took the Pirates over the Reds as a sneaky team from the Central. I personally have the Cubs winning the division, but I think the Reds are going to be. I have the Reds finishing second. I think the Reds are going to be
Hmm.
a sneaky playoff team this year. I think
Yeah.
Milwaukee will regress third, and then I have um, St. Louis fourth and Pirates fifth. I think you guys are
Yeah.
crazy about the Pirates, by the way. I think they're going to stink, by the way. But I have the
Well,
Reds as my
not
sneaky
until
team.
May. The Pirates historically have always played extremely well in April,
Right.
and
That's
then they tank. But
if only you got a playoff appearance for your April
I, ju-
record.
I
But
I picked them primarily because you got to pick somebody to go from worst to first.
no, I appreciate the hot take for sure. I mean, you got to go on a limb sometimes. So yeah, that's a great prediction. So mark this one on your calendars. If the
Yeah.
Pirates are playing October baseball later this year, then you know that Mike called it. All right, let's jump to now to our last division in this episode, which is the division of the two-time reigning champion Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm talking about the actually West, of course, teams that we have seen spending a lot of money. Well, mainly the Dodgers, really, I'm talking about. Obviously, we got the Giants, Padres, Rockies, and Diamondbacks in this division. It's a bit of an obvious one to call, I suppose. Obviously, the Dodgers, if you thought they were gonna, uh, you know, have a down year, you were wrong. They bolstered up their team with even more free agent acquisitions. Ohtani is going to be pitching this year as well. So is this one pretty uninteresting division from your perspective, Mike? Like it's Dodgers, and then the rest are going to be fighting it out for maybe scrapping a wild card.
Yeah, I think they just renamed the divisions the NL Dodgers.
There you go. Yeah,
I mean, with the Dodgers getting Kyle Tucker from the Cubbies, as if they needed somebody.
it's crazy.
Uh, you know, they are ranked number one in pitching and number one in the lineup. Um, I don't see.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I have the Padres coming in second,
Okay.
the Diamondbacks third, and then Giants fourth, Rockies fifth.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I think that's fair enough. Jackson, obviously, Dodgers are on their quest for a three-peat. What do you think of this NL West this year?
I think we're all going to have to agree. I'm going to have to agree with Mike and all of us on this
Let's
one that we're
call it.
all on the dot.
Let's just give them the crown now,
Yes,
by the way,
yes.
in
Let's do
March
it. Yes. Let's do it.
for
We
the
are
West,
all
anyways.
yes. We are all on the Dodgers in this one, like you said, and yes, we are, and like you said, and Shohei Ohtani, star players,
I've heard
Freddie
of him.
Freeman, and those guys. Well, if you ever got a chance to catch their ring ceremony last night on TV, well, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. There have been some, well, about the Giants and the Dodgers and those guys. Well, for the first time this season, we for the media part perspective of the Major League Baseball game, um, like Red Blake said, Netflix aired Major League Baseball for the first time this season, and then you have NBC back on the air for the first time in 26 years from its absence, and that is a great thing for the sport. After Sunday Night Baseball and ESPN couldn't agree for a long term deal as for the partnership to televise Sunday night games, and then also for Netflix on the Netflix perspective, you have they will televise this year's Home Run Derby in Philadelphia, and then they will have the Field of Dreams game, Twins and Phillies on on August 13th. Lots to be looked forward to this year of what's in store for this Major League Baseball season. But back to my focus on the NOS. It's that yeah I'm yes I'm on agreement with everybody on this. It's going to be a huge runaway for the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani and Rajos and Freddie Freeman and all of those guys. Their rotation is so healthy. They're and if you want to think about their weakness of where the Dodgers struggle with, well, it was their bullpen. Well, guess what? They've upgraded it, and it got
Ah,
better this year.
this is a
If
joke.
you remember, yeah, no, if you remember, they had the weakest bullpen in their postseason run heading to the World Series last season. Now they've upgraded it, and it got bigger, better than ever. And I and then Will Smith and Freddie Freeman and Mahu Ramos and Max Muncy Hernandez and Mookie Betts, who, by the way, is one of his greats. What what is great? One of the greatest. If you want to know more about Mookie Betts, which I'm sure we talked about before on Good Guy Sports, one of his things that he likes to do in the off the field as a hobby besides baseball, he likes to go bowling with his family because that's what he does, and he resides in and if you want to know where Mookie Betts lives in the off season, he lives down in Nashville, where my brother went to college at. So that's something. That's something very it, interesting to like and know about the Dodgers. But besides from that, they've added Kyle Tucker, and he is by far the most athletic signing deal that the Dodgers have ever paid and and added to their roster and and, and into their lineup. Teoscar Hernandez and Alex Bregman and Shohei Ohtani, of course, Will Smith and by far pretty much every position that the Dodgers have, whether it's the bullpen rotation or left field or center field or first base, second base, shortstop, left field, center field, right field, designated hitter, you name it, they can do it all. And I think the Dodgers are a perfect example of that, which is why, like you said, Blake, they're on a quest for a repeat. And and so and so the Giants, on the other hand, they've hired new manager Tony Frontrunners, who led the Tennessee Volunteers to College World Series back in the 24.
Wait, what's going on here? Since when are we hiring college managers in MLB? I mean, what's going on here, by
Well,
the way?
I'll tell you what's going on, Blake. It's becoming a trend. Yet,
Let me guess. Just because they both were orange, all of a sudden this guy's gonna be a a good manager. I don't know.
yes,
Different shade of orange.
yes. Very different shade of orange than it is than it is in Tennessee and burnt orange. So you get the idea. But I think for Fernando Tatis Jr. and the Padres, they'll always be a wild card team. Um, but the Rockies are just a complete joke to me. They are just the worst farm systems in all of
Get
baseball,
them relegated.
and the and their roster is they're just terrible. They're just one of the worst run organizations in all of baseball. They just are.
Sure.
But I think the Diamondbacks, yeah, they have a great postseason run in the 2023 season. But I think the Diamondbacks are just a complete joke to me. But they're
Hmm.
I mean they had a good decent
It's a
season,
bit
but not
harsh.
great. But I think just a little bit harsh, like I said, a little bit harsh. But I think the Diamondbacks had a decent year, but not great. But I would say the Diamondbacks are just pretty average to me, if you ask me.
Okay. I personally think it's going to be a case of the Dodgers winning that division pretty handily. I think it will be like it was last year between San Diego and San Francisco for that second spot. Wouldn't shock me if both of those teams end up making the playoffs as a wild card as well. We should mention that as well. But I think just the unknown of the new manager in San Francisco. It's a bit of a gamble there. I've got San Diego finishing second and San Francisco in third, so same as last year. And then I think it's gonna be the exact same finish as last year with Arizona fourth, Colorado fifth. I think that one will pan out as we expect. So the Dodgers will be on their quest for a three-peat. Let's see if they can do it. I think from a competitive balance standpoint, some people will argue it's not good for the game. Some people argue it's good to have great teams. That's up for debate, but we'll certainly cross that bridge when we get to it. But um, those are our MLB predictions on behalf of Good Guy Sports. I think we're in store for a really fun season, as always. We love talking baseball here on Good Guy Sports, don't we? So Mike and Jackson Any last thoughts on MLB before we close this show out? Should be a great opening day, right? Opening
Yeah,
weekend.
I think we should make our World Series predictions now if we have time.
All right, last word. I'll start with Mike. World Series
Sharp,
prediction
sh
before we go.
Sharpen up your tridents. Mariners win the World Series
Over who?
over the Dodgers.
Okay, Seattle over LA
Ooh.
for Mike. I like that one, by the way. Jackson, quickly your World Series predictions before we get out of here.
Um, as much as I hate to say it, but I think I appreciate your prediction, Mike. But I think I'm going to have to stick with the. But I'm gonna have to stick with agreement with everybody and the public and for the betting odds and for the betting market for the sports books world. I'm going to take the Dodgers for a free-peat. They're going to join the Lakers and for the last LA-based team, pro sports team to do it. Since the Kobe Bryant and Magic, since the Kobe Bryant days and Steve Nash days, and the last and the last pro sports teams to do it. I think they'll join the Yankees and the early 2000s for one of the most notable pro sports teams to do it. I think the Dodgers will be on the list and they'll they'll get their free beat, and I have them winning, and then I have them winning over the Blue Jays again.
Okay. I'm going to go a bit different. Like Mike, I'm going to pick Seattle to win the World Series, but I'm picking them to beat the Philadelphia Phillies in the World Series. I'm going Seattle Mariners over Philadelphia Phillies in the World Series. That is my prediction. So let's see. It's obviously early. We'll reference this video. We obviously made some big predictions in March. Come fall time, we'll see. There could be some great predictions, could be some busts. Probably a bit of both, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, we all love baseball here, so that's the most important thing. On
Well said,
behalf of
buddy.
Good Guy Sports, want to thank you, Mike Jackson, myself, Blake Gerke, for previewing a great MLB season, and stick with Good Guy Sports as we progress through and give you some great updates on what should be a fun season. And everyone out there, enjoy the season and crack of the bat, go baseball.
Play ball.
That's what I
Happy
was looking for.
opening day,
Thank you,
everybody.
gentlemen.
Thanks,
Let's
everyone.
let's play some baseball. See
Yeah.
you guys.
Bye.